Cracker versus Doflamingo. It is finally here, the first versus battle we do on this channel, and I'll tell you guys right now, this decision I made, I switched it about maybe 20,000 times, and I haven't just been thinking about this versus battle for a couple hours, maybe a couple days. I've been thinking about this for at least a good year. So definitely I have a lot to say about this versus battle, and I have a crazy decision because I kind of switched my pick multiple times. So I actually don't know where my head is at right now, but I finally am comfortable with the pick I made. And just to say, yo, two characters who made Luffy go all out. He needed help to defeat both these characters, and this is a debated topic that's been happening for a long time, and I debated with a lot of peers, so it's controversial, but I love to do these videos. And don't get offended if I pick the character you do not want to pick, because we all have different perspectives, we all have different thought processes, and that's what makes this series so wonderful, because we all have different opinions. And let's get to the video. Let's get to the video right now. Doflamingo, this guy is, let's just say, a very colorful character, and he's kind of a controversial character in a sense when it comes to his power scaling, and we've seen him have many crazy moments. He's a former warlord. He just lost his warlord position recently, a former celestial dragon. Yes, the celestial dragons we saw in Sabaody, he's a part of that group, and he's the leader of the underworld Joker. We saw the whole confrontation of Doflamingo and Aokiji and how badass he came out of that ice. Now, a lot of people think that Doflamingo was scared of Aokiji because he was an admiral, but it was more like Doflamingo had so much to worry about. He knows that if he fought Aokiji, I believe Aokiji is stronger than Doflamingo because he's an admiral, but I don't think Doflamingo was scared of Aokiji. That's the important thing I'm trying to say here. And I definitely believe Doflamingo just had better things to do. He knew it wasn't a wise decision to even attempt to fight Aokiji. Even if he does win, it'll take a long time, and he had Luffy Law on his mind. And then we have Cracker, the 10th son of Big Mom, I believe, or around there. He is the son of a Yonko, and not just a son of a Yonko. The reason why he's hyped, because Big Mom has pretty much 85 kids, so that will make you hyped just because you're an offspring of a Yonko. But he's a sweet commander, and a sweet commander, Calamities, the top Yonko commanders of Whitebeard's crew. These are characters who are respected. Now we do have Shanks' crew, the top Yonko commanders there. They're all wearing capes. You guys know what I'm talking about: Ben Beckman, Yasab, Lucky Roo. But still, top Yonko commanders, Marineford showcase that these guys are no joke. These top Yonko commanders are able to fight with an admiral, and that's why I made my whole thing talking about Aokiji and Doflamingo, because if top Yonko commanders are, I don't believe top Yonko commanders are stronger than an admiral, but they're able to fight an admiral, and the vice captains are in a special category. But still, if Cracker's a top Yonko commander, we have to respect his powers and abilities. He fooled the world government. The world government doesn't even know Cracker's true how he is. They don't even know who the true Cracker is. So definitely his bounty should have been bigger than it actually is right now. I think it's 860 million to be exact. I'm not too sure, but still 800 million territory is an amazing bounty. Also, just some quick things I want to talk about Doflamingo before I actually get to the actual main topics. Doflamingo actually stopped a Yonko commander in the Marineford War, and this is brought up in a lot of conversations when it comes to power scaling. But honestly, it's kind of a tough one because Doflamingo did not really just come up in front and then stop the Yonko commander. He actually sneaked attack a Yonko commander and stopped him with his abilities when it comes to his string fruit. And I will say this, Jozu, he's impressive, yo. He was going out of the Aokiji. He stopped Miyagi Slash. He's definitely not someone you can laugh at. Now, he did lose an arm, and he is weaker since Marineford, but still, I definitely believe that was a very impressive thing by Doflamingo, but still, it didn't make me think that Doflamingo was stronger than Jozu, because I never saw them battle, and Jozu if Jozu was seeing that attack, I think he would have made a different decision. But still, he also casually dealt with Sanji, and a lot of people like to laugh at Sanji for this moment, but let's be honest here. If he's casually dealing with Luffy in the same arc, I don't think Sanji getting destroyed pretty much easily is a kind of a bad thing towards Sanji. Just a strong character Sanji to deal with. And yes, Sanji is an expert when it comes to battling in the sky, but yo, that's the heavenly Yakasha, man. That's some crazy stuff that guy was doing, yo. He's a sicko. Now, Cracker, some things we know that it doesn't really equal up to some things that Doflamingo has done, but actually, if you're thinking about it, you could kind of put on the same category, because Cracker did stop Urujo, the Mad Monk. Yes, the man who's going to become Pirate King. Okay, I'm gonna stop. This is a serious video, but still, Urujo is someone who is ferocious. He took out a Yonko commander named Snack. Now, a lot of people think this is because of his ability, and everybody knows his ability is revolving around karma, so they think that the pain he took, he just used a karma special trump card on him, and that's how he took out Snack. But who knows? We don't know exactly the details, so we just gotta go off of the information we're given. And Cracker then takes out Urujo. Now, the anime did put a lot of filler that we're not too sure if each road said to do this, so I'm not gonna just base it off the anime what we saw there. But still, Cracker did take out Urujo, and Cracker did not seem to use his true power, his true person, like the multiple biscuit soldiers. So still, I believe that this is pretty cool to see Cracker do that. But I'll be honest here, Urujo, how much time did he have to prepare for this battle? He just fought a young commander. Now he's supposed to fight another fresh young commander who's at the level of Cracker. Yeah, definitely Urujo, he had no chance in this battle. Now, one of the biggest things when talking about power scaling in characters is a lot of people like to look at the situation of the battle. So this is the first main topic that I'm talking about. There's going to be about 3 to 4 maybe main topics in this video. So this is the first one. I'm talking about the actual character battle when it comes to the first main character battle. I'm talking about Doflamingo battling Luffy and Law. And a lot of people like to say that Doflamingo wasn't 100%. They said that Doflamingo took a Red Hawk from a team attacked by Law and Luffy. They said Doflamingo took a Gamma Knife from a team attacked by Law and Luffy. They said Doflamingo took a Jet Stamp from Luffy. That was pretty much a move that they combined with Law because of Law's what he did with the Gamma Knife. So there's many moments where they're double teaming Doflamingo, and that's something that you can think about when it comes to Doflamingo's 100, how much level he was when it comes to his ability fighting Luffy in the official fight. Now, I do want to say this, Luffy did have the situation of Bellamy, so he wasn't 100% too, but it seemed like Doflamingo had less of his percentage than Luffy. That's just my guess from what I'm seeing, though you could disagree. We know Luffy and Don Shinjo, a lot of people would like to bring that up, but that's just my take on the subject at that. But still, Gear 2nd, Gear 3rd Luffy, pretty easy. Yeah, pretty easy. He pretty much handled Gear 2nd, Gear 3rd Luffy. He was actually laughing. He was probably joking around with him because he's like, Gear 2nd Luffy does not have enough power. Gear 3rd Luffy does not have enough speed. And he didn't destroy this base Luffy, but still, it kind of made it seem like a joke, and he wasn't taking it serious. Now, Cracker, on the other hand, was actually fresh 100%, and Luffy himself was also 100%. So this fight was definitely more easier to actually read the scaling, and Cracker casually destroyed Gear 2nd, Gear 3rd. Luffy could do nothing to actually challenge Cracker, and I will say this, Luffy even commented how strong his armament haki was. Yes, Luffy's like, his armament haki is strong, and we have never seen Luffy stated that by another character in the New World, I believe. I may be wrong, but I believe that he's never stated that. So the fact that he stated that, that's something that you have to respect Cracker. His armament haki was kind of legitified by Luffy, legitimized, and I do want to say this, definitely Gear 2nd, Gear 3rd Luffy was no match. Now, the second topic of this video I'm discussing is the big thing, Gear 4th. Gear 4th versus Doflamingo and Gear 4th versus Cracker. And I'm gonna start with Doflamingo. Gear 4th versus Doflamingo, yes, Doflamingo got a huge, big beating. Yeah, he got destroyed by Gear 4th. We saw Kong Gun, we saw Rhino Schneider, we saw Culverin. Like, we saw many attacks that Doflamingo took from Gear 4th. Now, you're probably thinking, Doflamingo doesn't really look bad because his durability was amazing, but still, in a battle, he's still taking these attacks and getting tossed around like a ragdoll. So you have to mention, now, I already talked about Doflamingo's, he wasn't 100%, but still, I'm going to look at this moment and see how Doflamingo was handling it. Now, I do want to say this, the fact that Doflamingo was able to lasted Leo Bazooka and Gear 4th ran out, that's still a part of the battle. So Gear 4th was not enough for even though Gear 4th was beating Doflamingo as a ragdoll, it still wasn't enough for Doflamingo. So it makes you think, if Doflamingo was 100%, would it even be different, more different for Gear 4th? That's the big question that a lot of people are asking. And we know the 10 minutes, the Coliseum fighters did help Luffy. So Doflamingo was doing things while Luffy was resting, and so it was even more of a disadvantage. So definitely, you have to look at this. You can't ignore it. I like Luffy. Luffy's my favorite character in the One Piece story, but I can't be biased in a situation like this. Luffy did get help, and he did have 10 10 minutes to relax. You gotta respect that. Now, in the actual Gear 4 versus Cracker battle, this was a lot different because Luffy, he initially beats the Cracker Biscuit soldier, but like I said, there's a true Cracker, and the true Cracker cuts his arm. This is kind of like one of the first times that we've seen Gear 4 Luffy in this much pain. That was a deep cut, and just showcase, I told you, Cracker's haki was legitimized by Luffy multiple times in this actual battle. And we also know that Luffy did many things, even new moves called Kong Organ, but he wasn't enough to actually get through Cracker's defense, which is amazing. So definitely Luffy had 11 hours. This battle went on for 11 hours, and the crazy thing is Luffy in Gear 4 lost to Cracker multiple times because it states that Luffy, he fought, and then he ran away, and then he ate the biscuits that Cracker supplied, and then he fought again, then he ran away. So he lost multiple times to Cracker and actually ran away. And you could say he lost and it came back, and does that really count as actual losing the battle and coming back again? That's up to you. But still, Luffy definitely Gear 4 faced Cracker multiple times in that night, and multiple times it was stopped. So the last topic I want to talk about, yes, this is the last topic I'm going to talk about, is just the third topic is going to be just a topic of my thoughts on something that's a lot of people don't really realize. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is Awakening for Doflamingo. A lot of people don't realize that Awakening for Doflamingo actually did a lot than people think, because it stalled Luffy. Yes, Luffy gave Doflamingo that Kong gun, that Rhino Schneider, that Culverin, but when Doflamingo activated the Awakening, a couple minutes went by where Luffy was just dodging and he couldn't really do anything. You have to respect Awakening and what it did to Luffy. It made him on his feet. It made him have to be aware of things, and it made it an actual battle, not a beating that Luffy was doing. Now, Luffy did hit him with a Leo Bazooka, and that's kind of where a lot of people has that in their mind because they forget, but there was a time that was skipped where Doflamingo was just making Luffy stalled. So that's something I want to bring it up. And Awakening is deadly. Off-White, I have to respect Awakening because it definitely is underrated. And for Cracker, what I want to talk about is the hate he gets for losing to Nami and the homies. Doflamingo lost to a help from Lost, so people like to respect that and the Coliseum Fighters. But Cracker losing to the homies and Nami, a lot of people see the homies and Nami's as fodder. So I want to talk about this, and I actually want to defend Cracker in this situation because Nami actually has a weakness to Cracker when it comes to his biscuits, his most formidable attack and defense. So that definitely was a huge disadvantage for Cracker. And we also can't forget about the homies. The homies were able to manipulate the forest, and they were actually blocking Nami. So it was so much difficult to actually attack Nami and take her out right away because you have the forest manipulating and changing its surroundings. It was crazy. I'm not surprised that Cracker couldn't take out Nami, and I'm not surprised that Luffy was able to run away so many times because when the forest is manipulating and changing its environment, it's so tough to capture these two. So I'm gonna say, yeah, Luffy and Nami, definitely not surprised he didn't take these guys out because of the homies and how much of valuable they were, and Nami the weakness. It was crazy. Okay, the final topic I want to talk about most definitely is their defeat. Both these characters did lose to Luffy. Yes, I've been saying how Luffy was in a lot of disadvantages. He was getting beaten by a lot of these characters. I can't even lie to you guys. Both these characters still got defeated by Luffy, and with help, with not, he still beat them. And I'll talk about both their characters' defeat. Doflamingo was defeated by a King Kong gun. And yeah, that is amazing because it kind of gives more respect to Doflamingo because he took on Luffy's strongest attack head on. He actually dived into Luffy's strongest attack with his own strongest attack. And I definitely want to say this, it kind of makes me respect Doflamingo a little bit more. Yes, he was cocky, but still, the way he was defeated is not no joke. That was a devastating attack, and you're also diving into it. You gotta respect that. And Cracker's defeat, a lot of people like to make jokes about Cracker's defeat and how it was like it made Cracker look trash or something like that. So people tell me Cracker's defeat was nothing like it was not King Kong gun level, but it still was a devastating attack because it used more strategic when it comes to Luffy. And Luffy also did get help kind of in this final defeat by Cracker because Cracker dives in to actually attack the new form Tank Man that Luffy brings out, but he can't do it. So when he can't do it, Luffy just ricochets Cracker's body onto his own Biscuit soldiers. Not just one Biscuit soldiers, multiple Biscuit soldiers Cracker dives into. And Biscuit soldiers were stronger than base Luffy, Gear 2nd, Gear 3rd. So you definitely have to understand that multiple Gear 2nd, Gear 3rd Luffys plus the Tankman attack. Yeah, and the reason why I say he got a little help Luffy because Nami was making all the biscuits wet and weak, but then finally Nami stopped, so they were hardened. So it's not really help, but it's kind of changing the whole situation. Nami's still kind of involved, and Luffy told Nami to stop, so it kind of makes me think it's kind of help. So still, I want to say this: definitely the defeat. It was not King Kong gun level, but still, it was still a devastating defeat because his own arm haki is so strong that it's stronger than Doflamingo's and Luffy's haki. And then he actually gets hit by his own haki that's stronger than them. You have to say it was still a devastating defeat he took. So this is a long video, and I'll be honest here, this is where I actually talk about them battling each other and who is actually stronger. And this is my answer to the question with Cracker versus Doflamingo. First, let me talk about who is stronger. In my opinion, I can't even lie to you guys. Cracker with his arm and haki, which was legitimized by Luffy. Big Mom sending Cracker after knowing that Luffy beat Doflamingo. A lot of inclinations that make me believe that Cracker was the stronger character than Doflamingo. What he showcased in a lot of situations, I believe Cracker, he showcased some things that a lot of people like to downplay, but you have to respect that. But in an actual battle, in a versus battle, because this is a versus video, I talked about a lot of things they have. In a versus battle, we have to understand that Doflamingo, their ability surpasses Cracker, and his awakening ability is so deadly because he can turn a lot of things. He said himself he can turn anything to strings when he's in awakening. What does Cracker use for his main weapon? He uses biscuits. If Doflamingo's able to turn the biscuits into awakening his own strings, that would be so detrimental to Cracker. Also, even if he can't do that, Doflamingo can also make his off-white destroy those Biscuit soldiers. And Cracker, he does a couple of times in the Luffy fight come out to fight in his true power, and he uses his sword. If Doflamingo's able to get through that and actually battle Cracker, and Cracker hits him with a strong arm and haki, I think Doflamingo, the man who took a King Kong gun, might be able to. His durability is so amazing that he'll be able to last out any attack that Cracker has, because Cracker has not showcased. He's been devastating with his arm and haki, but I haven't seen really a devastating huge attack by Cracker. So in my opinion, I believe Cracker is stronger, but in a versus battle, I have to go with Doflamingo. That awakening, turning his Biscuit soldiers to strings, is deadly. And that's why I said I changed my mind, because before, the fact that I think Cracker's stronger, before I actually thought Cracker was stronger, and I thought he would actually beat him in a fight. But thinking about it, this guy Doflamingo, yeah, in a fight, I think there's a reason why Oda showcased a lot of crazy stuff from this character. Now, I believe it's close, so if you believe Cracker can beat Doflamingo, tell me why in the comment section, because I will respect that if you believe that. And if you believe Doflamingo can beat him, tell me also your reasons why if it's different from mine. But yeah, this is so tough because these guys are so close in power scaling, it's crazy. That's pretty much it for this video. I want to ask you guys a big question. Who do you have winning this battle? And I also want to ask another question. Who do you guys want to do next on this versus battle? Or do you want me just to quit because this video was not to your liking? I'm not too sure. But yeah, this definitely was a very long video. I was talking for a long time, but you guys know me. When it comes to my main thing I do on this channel, power scaling is one of my best things I do on this channel. Now, I'm not saying I'm the best power scaler, but I'm saying like the thing when it comes to video making. Still, I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you guys want another versus battle, tell me in the comment section. I've been thinking about doing something like maybe Ace versus Luffy, maybe Crocodile versus Jinbei. But if you guys have a suggestion, put it in the comment section. I read all the comments. Like and share if you enjoy. Like and share only if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more One Piece content. I'm the LegendMac, and I'm gone.